notes lined up. All right, so can y'all see the screen?
Everybody say no.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. And they tell me that there was a different way that you could toggle, like seeing all the people, but I don't see it. To me, it's just a vertical or horizontal list. Anyways, all right, so we're going to get started here. Today's DNN MVP meeting, which will be a little bit different than the ones in the past. As far as updates, I still got my little animations going on, so welcome again. You guys, everybody that's at least here today, I think you guys are aware that 922 shipped, and I'm not sure if you saw Mitchell's blog about the release, but it was a point in time in DNN history, right? It was the first complete release, not a release candidate, that the community has done 100% community driven in a while, and it also involves some automation from the Azure DevOps and resources from the .NET Foundation. So while it's just a point release, it's kind of a big deal for us and for everybody who's been along the ride, especially if you're in the DNN tag group, then kind of what that means and represents. So he did post a blog about that. He also posted a blog, maybe we should look at it. You guys may have already read it, but it was just like an update from the technology group. And it talks a little bit about where we came from and where we're going. So if you haven't seen Mitchell's blog, you should check it out. I'm actually going to see if I can put, have you guys read that one? Has anybody seen it? Feel free to.
Yeah, I read it.
You did? What did you think about it?
It was good.
Let's see, an update from the DNN Technology Group. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this one over. So this is kind of like, if you know how Andy does like quarterly reviews or something, I'm hoping that Mitchell will like continue this trend every so often. But he lists, the accomplishments that the group has made. Talks about how it's a team effort. He gives a couple shout outs to people behind the scenes. Matt Rutledge, you got some love in case you weren't aware. But these are everybody contributes, right? But like these guys here, like these guys never ask for any like glory or credit or anything like that, much like all of y'all. So Mitchell's just giving them a little bit of love because they're reviewing a lot of pull requests and things like that. Then he's talking about the pathway forward. He, mentions .NET Core, but he also talks about how the main goal is, just to kind of get stable and lean before, making a big plunge or whatever. He talks about upcoming releases, and then this is probably where he's, foreshadowing the road ahead. And anyways, it's just a good, communication. And if you hadn't read it, you may want to take some time to read it. And I think maybe Stroll commented or something. No, Stroll didn't. So yeah, so this guy is truly appreciated, and Brian Dukes appreciated the love there. So it's always good to spread around the thanks. Anyways, Mitchell did post that. The DNN Digest goes out tomorrow. I know you all are just dying to read it. DNN Website Awards. How many people here have submitted one of your sites? Raise your hand if you have submitted. Okay, good. EPT, you're not proud of any of your sites? No? Okay. Daniel? Mike? No? Who else is on here? Jay? Will? Will, have you submitted any? Why not?
He's not wanting to make people aware.
He's muted or he's having mic issues or something, but that's coming from your group, man. Submit something. No, I can't hear you. Seriously, cannot hear you. All right, well, hopefully he'll get his mic fixed. You should submit a site if you haven't, Will. All right, so all other updates that have happened is that DNNsoftware.com and DNN Store are both now running under HTTPS. Yes, it's like we should have done it how long ago? but it finally happened. So, kudos to the people that raised the issue and, kept it at the forefront until it actually happened. And then B, kudos to Ash and the team that made that happen. So I think when they flipped that over on the store site, we saw issues that David pointed out about like mixed content if you were hosting content coming from a different location, right? And then on the main site, we saw the same issues with mixed content warnings in various places, right? And then we had a couple images that were missing, but things got ironed out, and I imagine you would have similar issues, in any update like that. So anyways, we are in this century now, so I wanted to let everybody know. And both the main site and the store were migrated to new environments, like new infrastructure. They should be more performant. I'm sure they're doing benchmarks, but you guys can you judge for yourselves. And I don't know if I so I did put a bullet point. So EVS is.
I know I use a lot the EVS, and it's really faster.
Okay, well, the EVS hasn't even been migrated, at least that I know of.
I don't know what happened, but it's working much better.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. I heard somebody in the back.
All right. Yeah. Now it's recognizing me. All right.
Blame it on Zoom. You want to.
So I have an observation on EVS though. I think the reason it says it's going through the SQL checker, but I don't think it actually is anymore. That's the thing that held it up before, is it go through the SQL checker and it would take like 10, 15 minutes to do that, because it would actually spin up an instance of database and it'd start like upgrading DNN and then applying it over and over again. I don't think that's happening anymore, because that just zips right through. I think the step still exists, but I don't think it's actually occurring.
I think it's occurring, because I got a lot of warnings when I was doing the store module. There was a lot of old SQL that's not compatible with recent versions, and I got warnings about it.
Really?
Yeah, and that's like this week.
I don't see it catching anything for me anymore.
Well, so Ash told me that they were moving EVS to the new infrastructure. I did not know the date. He told me that today, so I don't think it has happened yet. But I want to ask the question: has anybody looked at any of the code of EVS on GitHub, to see exactly what it's doing?
Only a little bit. I was planning to do an update, so I started looking through it, and then I wanted to try to figure out what the error message was again, because for Hotcakes specifically, it kept giving a false positive.
Yeah.
And it's specifically in instances where you were inserting a huge chunk of HTML into a table.
Yeah.
It would somehow misinterpret a piece of it or something, and then say that the SQL was incompatible or something like that. But so I was excited when it went open source, because I was going to go try to fix it. And then I tried to reduplicate it, and all of a sudden it was fixed before they posted it again. And by the way, this was fixed 3 years ago by Nathan Rover. So I'm happy to see that's fixed again. So I only briefly looked at it.
Gotcha. So Ash has joined. Ash, Daniel, and others are reporting that EVS is already more performant. But you told me today it was going to be migrated. That has not happened yet, has it?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay. All right, just confirming. So should happen soon. We'll let people know when it does happen. And then, we can, I guess, debate on if it's actually running SQL Checker or not.
We haven't received any pull requests from community on that, right? EVS?
I don't think so. That's what we were just discussing. I think Stroll started looking into the code a little bit. Hopefully we will. But yeah, Ash, I don't know if you were here. We gave props to the team for getting the main site and the store running under HTTPS.
Oh, sounds good. Good. I just joined. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Good. Is it running better? Okay for you guys? Any broken links or anything?
After we got the initial, I think there were some blog images that didn't make it initially, and then it seemed like it got cleaned up.
I think the update.new.com had some SSL issues, so that's all resolved now. That was going on for a few days.
Yeah.
I reported a few broken images like banners and stuff in Slack. I haven't checked after that.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of the current, I'd say maybe the blogs I had posted within the last week of the migration date, the images were broken. So like I was at Ignite and I was trying to show some people the .NET Foundation blog and all my images were broken. So I was like, damn it, what a terrible time to like have broken images. But anyways, they got themselves cleaned up. I did update those since I was at that conference, but there were 5 or 6 other blogs like that, and they fixed themselves magically. So I'm thinking somebody moved some images or a folder.
You are talking about blog content.
Yes, and
I have a couple mixed contents on the theme level or on banners that should show, for instance, above the forum and stuff like this. I think it was banners for the Denver meetup or stuff. I reported them in Slack. It's still it was.
Okay, so let me check that. Yeah, so we got, or at least I put up banners on the forum and maybe 1 or 2 other pages for the DNN Awards and for DNN Summit.
Yeah, so those are not working.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Now there's a space there.
There's also some Google scripts, Google Tag Manager.
Okay, yeah. So maybe I think that is the vendors module or banners, they kind of work together.
Yeah.
So
there's also a roundtrip.js, which I don't know what it is. There's a couple, you need to go page by page with the developer tools open and see the mixed content warnings there.
Yeah, I see that for these images. All right, we'll look into that. Thanks for calling that out. Anybody else seeing any awkwardness?
Clint, I forgot to mention to you, there's one more change that's going to happen on both the side is that we're going to be blocking it to the sanctioned countries. So still, like, so you can't buy if you're from Iran or Syria. There are some checks that we're going to be putting it on the store for sure. And also on the DNN software, at least where you can download the language pack. So I don't think we have anything that you can download that is code on DNN software besides the language pack and the nightly build. So we're gonna redirect nightly builds to the new place, the community DevOps area, and the language pack we are looking to somehow protect it so that people from those sanctioned countries can't download it. So that's a requirement on the corp side. GitHub is fine. Anything on GitHub is fine, but on our corporate side and also on the store, we got to do that. I think we have some provisions already, but it's so that might issues. There might, I hope that doesn't break anything. It doesn't block anybody, legitimate users. So,
yeah. Okay.
I'll let you know when we do that.
Appreciate the update. All right, so upcoming events. So next Thursday, we've got the Southern Fried DNN meeting, and we have Mandeep, who is going to give us a demo of the live storefront, which is a beta release of an e-commerce solution that he's been working on for, I think he said 3 years. So feel free to join us there. We're going to live stream it, and Mr. Addison Oliveira, I think he has joined. Addison, do you want to talk about your upcoming meeting?
Looking forward to have Bogdan talking about how to put his suite of modules together to deliver a complex system of some sort. So that's what we'll be talking about.
Sweet. All right. And so one thing I do want to mention is that both Addison in Toronto and our group here in Charlotte, we are pretty quick on the turnaround about posting the replays. So I know, like, for example, Addison had Kelly Ford talking about DNN prompt at his last meeting. And so, the replays are usually up within a day or two. So if you see us talking about these meetings and you're like, man, that would have been great to see, you can definitely watch them. We post them on the DNN blog and also on the user group website. So just wanted to give a shout out to that, because it's not always easy, to render and then upload and then blog and all that. So we're trying to create content for the community. DNN Summit, if you haven't registered, registration is now turned on. Speakers that submitted sessions, which I think Stroll submitted 10. Way to go, Will. You should be hearing back pretty soon, as soon as Mitchell gets through flying. Yeah. So I talked about all that. We still had a weekly DNN tag meetings. Feel free to join. Ash, it looks like in the chat they're talking EBS pull requests here. All right, so this meeting, usually we have updates from the EAG group leaders, and Mitchell is not here today. He did send me an update to share, by the way. He was saying that 9.2.2 is released. We covered that. 9.3 is going to focus on cleanup, and then 9.4 is going to be a release that's specifically focused on the persona bar, cleaning it up. And he is asking for anybody who's listening or participating to go and document issues that you have or that you notice with the persona bar. Try to get those logged in ahead of time, because when 9.4 gets here, that's going to be the focus of the release. So, and that was just, from the technology group. But what I wanted to do in this meeting was, it kind of feels like, it's a one-way communication from the EAG leaders to the MVPs, and I wanted to kind of reverse that and have it as more of a two-way communication. So what I would like to do is to just open the group up to, give us some, or to discuss various topics, and that is, any areas of DNN that you're doing stuff in, like neat things you're working on, things you're planning to do. We just got off a meeting. Daniel had done some awesome stuff related to documentation. And Daniel, feel free to share that with the group. But any relevant updates or any areas that, you as an MVP think that we should focus on improving. And then also we can discuss I, as the facilitator of the MVP program meeting here, am interested in like your feedback on the format and content. What type of information would you like to hear during meetings? And obviously I'm striving for two-way communication versus one-way. So we can kind of table this until the end, but what I'm gonna stop sharing the screen so we can actually make it easier to look at each other here. But just want to go around and let people kind of talk about, things you're doing in or related to DNN, and just any areas you think we can improve. So let's start with David Poindexter. I don't know the order that it shows on y'all's screen, but David is first on mine. So David, we'll let you go.
Yes, what was the question?
So I want to know any cool things you're doing related to DNN, any just information that or your team or whatever that you would like to share with the MVPs. I want to make this more conversational and getting feedback from the MVPs versus us just telling stuff.
Sorry, I was off working on an issue. Recently been focusing more on the DNN community modules and efforts around there, specifically making, I went through Daniel Velada's video series, which is great, by the way, on helping to set up your local environment for DNN development, both on the community modules as well as platform and persona bar. So that's been kind of nice. Made a pull request on the platform. That was really kind of a fun process to go through. And I say fun in quotes there because definitely a lot of room for improvement there, especially the manually copying over of files to test things out. I found that kind of shocking, but just trying to get my feet wet in every little area that I can possibly learn new stuff on, and enjoying that.
And you also have some stuff going on in the DNN docs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Been working with the DNN documentation team on the kind of the new structure solution for housing new DNN documentation, specifically focusing on the look and feel and the user experience and kind of the front end of all that. But have fun getting my hands dirty in React as well with all that. So that's been a bit fun.
Awesome. Appreciate the update. All right, Mr. Smeltzer, you are next in line here, at least in my video order. So what you got going on?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy lately. Similar to David, I actually did my first pull request on the platform. It was the last week I submitted it and I got accepted for Google Analytics connector. So that was also quite the experience going through that process a few times. I'm actually I'm used to Git and Subversion, some other tools, but not using GitHub Online and having to clone the repositories and pull them down and upstream some things like that. So Daniel's videos were a great help there. And look forward to continuing that process a little bit. And I've got some experience with automated deployments and things like that. So I might share some thoughts as well about how we can potentially improve that process overall. Also been starting to do some training videos, nothing released yet, but I'm doing some training videos for a high-level overview of development of DNN. So not diving into code, but just talking more about the different concepts of development in DNN and kind of how they all piece together, so that if you are existing or a new developer or solution designer, as I'm calling them, you'll know the different building blocks that DNN offers and potentially when to use a module versus a skin object versus a third-party module versus a theme. So I think that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to look to continue on that and then do more types of videos like that.
Awesome. And you denoted, I believe, to Addison that you did not realize the amount of work that goes into editing and coming out. So you thought Addison just had it easy. He just cut it.
Yeah, you just push the fancy button. I think once you do it, you can kind of get some templates and things like that, just like anything. But no, it's absolute work to get really good quality videos. So kudos to everyone out there who does that. For commercially and for fun. It's hard work.
Yeah, good stuff. No, that's awesome. And the Google Analytics stuff, I think, is highly requested by people in the community, right? So I think it'll be a very welcomed update.
Yeah, following up on that, it was interesting because I use the connectors API, which is a newer API in DNN. So I've developed a presentation. I'm going to do like a video blog of kind of talking about it and walking through what that API is, and with an example module. So that hopefully, I want it done by now, but times are busy. So hopefully the next couple of weeks, that'll be. My intent is by 9/3. So once that release comes out, I release this alongside of it. So that gives me a few weeks to get that done.
Sweet. Yeah, that would be a good candidate or a good topic of discussion for our DNN Hangout that Will's going to update us about. All right, EPT, you are next in line here, and if we can get some updates before you go on your half-year vacation, that'd be great.
It's only 6 weeks, not a half year. It's more about the things that I'm interested. Are you still there?
Yeah, your video froze momentarily, but you're back.
Okay. The things I'm more interested in is to see how DNN as a community is going along. I'm following the number of downloads of different modules, and I see an increase over the last couple of months, but I'm wondering if you can give me some more feedback how the community as such is going. Do we have more information about that?
Are you saying like from a metric standpoint?
Yeah. Do you have any ideas of the number of people who are reading the digest, number of people reading blogs?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. The only metrics that I would have access to would be like, readership of DNN Digest. And I mean, I can, share any of that info with you. I always look to see, what links are getting the most clicks. Every now and then you'll get feedback. People will actually respond to the email. Like I had one guy respond saying that he really appreciated the project update section, and he was a developer, right? And so it kind of helps him understand, what's going on. And there are a lot of clicks in those. Andrew had a blog, I think, something related to DNN and Azure. People really like that. So EPT, if you want to look at more metrics, maybe I can schedule a meeting and we can kind of click into, at least from the DNN Digest, perspective. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, we're tracking vendor sales on the store, that kind of thing. But I don't know of any other, new user registrations maybe.
Do any of the other people around here feel any difference in the attraction that DNN has compared to, let's say, a year back from today? So if I get a little bit more requests on leads on DNN work, it's better than, let's say, 6 months or 12 months back. It's not like it was 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years back, but still it's improving a bit. So I'm wondering if the other people in other countries or other environments are mentioning the same thing.
I agree with what you said there.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do too. I've had a lot of just blind inquiries coming into the website, saying, "Hey, we see you do DNN stuff. We'd like for you to do stuff for us." And there are people I've never even heard of. And when I say people, they're actual companies with actual budgets. Most of the referrals I get from people that I know, that we all know, a lot of those are just individual developers that don't have a budget.
Yeah.
So we have very little of that. I have plenty of those referrals, but very little work there.
Yeah.
I can mention something on my sides on DNN Hero and Deskpole. I've noticed as compared to a year ago, I've seen about 30 to 4% more traffic to both sites
Okay.
organically.
Okay. Great.
And I haven't done anything special to get to that,
Yeah, and on our side, we're not even really doing a whole lot of marketing either. So we're just doing some minimal SEO.
I think it's because I featured both Will and Adderson in DNN Digest, and then they just took off, right?
Yeah, totally.
So the checks will keep coming, Clint.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I have to raise mine.
So we've got Jay. I assume that's Jay Mathis on here. Jay, do you have anything to contribute to that?
So I've been a little bit underwater with a couple of client projects, but I'm still trying to get this marketing, the homepage messaging document. Well, actually, that one's completed and ready to be reviewed. I'd like a final pass on it so that everybody can agree that this is what we want to send back to Andy. But and then the other project that I'm working on is the community dashboard, which I've got about 90% complete, and I'm trying to find some time to set this up on an Azure site and deploy it so people can play around with it.
So Jay, it sounds like you went into your personal update, but I was asking if you had any feedback from EPT's question on are you seeing more requests, which I do appreciate the feedback of the personal. But have you seen an increase in requests like EPT was saying?
No, I haven't seen anything like that. Not too much.
Okay. All right. EPT, did you have any more for your update?
No,
If not,
no, thank you.
Okay, so Jay, let's go ahead and you can go with your update. You were talking about the homepage update.
Yeah, so the document is pretty much done. I got a little bit, not as much feedback as I'd like. I got just a couple of comments from, I think it was 2 people that said, hey, why don't we add a couple of lines here and there, but so I'm not 100% sure how many people actually even looked at it, but I went and incorporated those comments into the document, and just I need to get some time to talk probably with Will and a couple of other people that have expressed interest, just to say, this is the message we want to send back to Andy, and make the request from him on getting access and moving forward.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think we should definitely do that because I think from Andy's perspective, he is wondering why the community has not updated the site yet. So it's literally the ball's in our court, and it's just waiting on us to do it. So that's not on you, Jay, necessarily. It's on us as a community, right? So I think we'll be able to update the site. David, y'all are over here tripping. We will be able to update the site whenever we kind of get our ducks in a row and get a plan. Like, I don't think he's gonna push back on us too much. I mean, there might be some tweaks here and there, but I think from his perspective, it's like, yeah, when's the community gonna update the site?
Well, I think that the major kind of takeaway from the document, if you guys want to talk about it now, we can, but the major takeaway is what we'd like to propose is splitting the site into a .com and a .org site, so that the .com site is more of kind of a sales vehicle for DNN, talking about more or less why people should use DNN, and it would take away a lot of the technical resources and blogs and things like that are more focused on how to use DNN, and move that to an org site, which would be community driven. And the org site would have all the technical resources and white papers and downloads and everything else. So the .com site would actually be very lightweight. It's just kind of a sales vehicle. Get people interested, get them hooked. And once they're hooked, they go to the .org site and they sign up. And that's where all the forums and the blogs and all the deep dive stuff would be on the .org site.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. Sounds like it could be a nice project. I'm ready to see it take off here. Jared, any other updates outside of the website update that you, or any just things you're working on, stuff you're areas we can improve in general as a community?
Well, the only other project that I'm working on right now is the community dashboard, which is going to be kind of basically the tracking activity in the community. So people that are posting GitHub updates and blog posts and any kind of community promoting thing, we're going to track that, so that we'll have some kind of scoreboard, and you'll be able to see who's contributing, and people can see their name in lights and get excited about that. So that's what we're working on there.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, so Mr. Stroll, you are next up in line here.
I don't want to be.
Okay, well, if you need more time, we can give you some space.
So I just posted a link to the last meeting we had about the website direction. So there's a video in there and slides. I think there's slides. I don't know. Anyway, there's at least a video in there. So it's something we've been going over as a group for a while now. Yeah, and same thing with the dashboard. They're kind of a dual effort. And then we also have another, as a group, we also have another direction of, or another area of focus, which is increasing social activity, which all those things will end up overlapping and running into each other. Yeah, so we didn't have a meeting as a group, the awareness group, this month. And it was primarily because I had a conflict with the client meeting. But one of the things I wanted to bring up with the overall group, and the number of people that are here are very representative of the very comment I'm about to make, is I've been very discouraged in the amount of activity of even showing up. Just at least coming to a meeting and listening, much less, posting something in a Slack channel. We've had a ton of really awesome activity in the beginning of the year. Once we hit the summer, everything kind of stagnated, which always happens, but it hasn't come back, which it usually does, right? We're here in October now, and people are mostly radio silent. And so that's really concerning to me. I know they're not abandoning DNN, but they're not participating anymore. And I'm really concerned about that. So I just wanted to get a consensus, or just opinions from the group. Why do you think that might be?
I don't know, maybe because the way we're conditioned for several years that we could just sit back and not do anything, and then releases just get handed over. We need to get unconditioned from that.
Yeah, was our community not open source minded before, and we're just waiting for somebody to do it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to a point that you made earlier, which is the difference between free source and open source.
Yeah. We've been, we definitely as a community and an ecosystem been forced into being conditioned to know that source was free, but it wasn't open, right? That's definitely
Right, but
true.
like I'm saying, if you sat back every 6 months or so, like you get a new release, right? And what did you have to do? Nothing. Right?
Yeah, that could possibly be. I kind of think too, on the dev side of things, we're starting to see a bit of a groundswell, of more people contributing and all that. So I'm not sure that it's kind of carte blanche, definitely in these meetings, and maybe there's, I don't know, but I would just be presuming why people aren't attending or being a part of that. Sorry, I'll mute.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because maybe like somebody's working at a company and they can't meet during the day, right? What if we had these meetings at night, but then you have like people all over the world? I mean, we have some people who've never, like I've never seen David Lee on a MVP meeting, right? He's the MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's on holiday.
I mean, on the brighter side, there's still activity, just not as much. So like, we're seeing blogs get translated, we're seeing blogs get created, we're seeing videos get created. We're still seeing some, like I'm hoping for an uptick in the number of like open source extensions out there, especially themes. That's some of our focuses. But we're getting some, not a lot.
Gotcha.
Except for from Daniel.
Yeah, he is a machine here. So
I hear you might have a new kind of thing coming out.
Yeah. We'll let him let that. So, Will, anything else? I mean, obviously that's one area of concern for you. You may be working on something like some kind of commerce solution.
I do. As my company has a couple of commercial projects coming up that we don't have enough detail yet to be public about it. But yeah, one of them is commerce related. The other is kind of commerce related. That's all I can say right now. It's too early in the process. But yeah, we got some. We're doubling down on DNN. We see nothing but upside here. And especially at the point right now that we are in as a community and in growth, we're going to end up seeing an uptick now that the developers in general are able to do things again, that are able to contribute again. We're going to have a lot more interaction that's not just companies coming in and saying, hey, we decided to use DNN and help me. We're going to also have a lot of developers that are going to be jumping back in again. So we have some initiatives coming that way. Oh, and there was a release of DNN or of Hotcakes 3.2.1 about 2 weeks ago ish.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, yes, and I plan to have actually 3.2.2 of Hotcakes go out in like the next 2-3 weeks as well. So, and the great thing about the version 3.2.1 was it was a group effort, right? It wasn't just me and my guys working on it. It was multiple people contributing code. So in our next 2 releases, that's going to also be the case. I got a pull request from Matt there that's been sitting there a little bit too long. Got to get that taken care of.
Sweet. All right, Mr. Valadas. I know you got all kind of stuff going on.
Well, as you know, I've been pretty busy with the core module. So we have, well, if we look 1 month back, it's pretty much what I sent you for the DNN digest, but there's the forum module came back into the DNN community repository, the original forum module that is. It should see a new release soon. We are in the final stages of testing. There's been a couple updates on the FAQ module, form and list. Well, we keep working on these things every week. The DNN store module was also brought back into the DNN community repository. It's not the greatest store, but there's some people using it, and that's blocking them to upgrade. So the code was relatively clean, and I don't have any deprecated APIs. There was an issue with the build process. There were missing files in the release. That's pretty much all fixed. It's in the testing stages too, so we should see a comeback on that. Other than that, on the actual DNN platform, I didn't have much time to contribute. I have a couple issues logged, but didn't find the time to actually create the pull requests on it. But it's on my list of things to do. I'd like to bring back the page icons and a couple other issues there. That's pretty much what I've been working on.
Sweet. No, that's awesome. Like Daniel, like we said, he's a machine. He's just like, he never sleeps. He's coming out with all these releases. He's just showed us some awesome stuff related to the docs on GitHub pages.
Yes, it's true. I forgot to mention that we're working. We should see something more presentable this week. Basically, using Jekyll pages, I started building. I fell in a rabbit hole because I was just trying to learn a little bit about Jekyll, and as I was doing it, I actually built a theme. So it's DNN branded with all the vector logos available with the DNN branding colors and fonts, and the font is very similar, but the official font is not free, so I took the most similar Google font that was available. And any DNN community project who wants to have documentations or a website, a GitHub website, could just reference the theme and publish the content, so everything would be similar looking and has links to the releases, and a lot of that stuff is automated. I can have a demo when we do it on an actual project, but we're working on this. And what's fun is that everything's going to be GitHub repo, so the documentation and the theme, so you can submit pull requests to improve the theme, to improve the documentation. If you're on an actual project and you make a change that's gonna affect documentation, you can bundle the change and the documentation that relates to it on the same pull request. So I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, no, it looked impressive. So we definitely appreciate your contribution, sir. All right, Adderson, we will transition to you here, sir.
Very, very hard to follow those footsteps, but okay. So I've been slacking on the DNN tips, so trying to get my shirt together to get back to the DNN tips, the weekly tips.
Yeah.
Open Friday is something that I'm a big proponent, and I keep pushing that every Friday. So if anyone wants to join between, anytime between 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon every Friday Eastern time.
And you've had pretty good turnout to that, right? I mean, like
it's been growing. It's been growing, and the conversations keep coming, and even to the point that I have been sick for about 2 weeks, and I have been very active, and people are there talking and helping each other. So it's good to see that it has movement, even if I'm not there all the time pushing things forward. So again, it's very good from that point of view, and signups have been growing, and I push that, I'd say, hard on the DNN Hero newsletter as well. So every Friday I push the message out. So again, I think it's been awesome. I think it's good. Not awesome me, but awesome for the community to have yet another venue to talk about DNN and ask questions. So that's Open Friday. And again, if you guys want to join, anybody, you don't need to stick around for 4 hours. You can just come in half an hour and give a helping hand. The other thing is that Tadag, the meetups, I've tried to book ahead of time guests, and I have the next one booked already for November, but I'm looking for guests for December, January. So if you guys, either if you want to talk or if you would like to see someone talking there, even if you're not joining, send me suggestions, send me recommendations, or send me your potential proposal of what you'd like to present. Again, I'm always in the lookout for guests for the TUDG meetup. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's me.
Sweet. And Addison, you are going to be interviewing DNN Summit speakers once we get them announced, which will be great.
Yeah, I'm now committing. Yes, I've briefly discussed that with Ryan, but I guess that I am.
Not every speaker, right? But maybe, you know.
I get it. No, what I do usually is I set, let's say, 10 sessions. Yeah. And whoever wants to join will join whichever session they want. Yeah. And once it's done, it's done.
It's done. Good deal. All right, Mr. Matt Rutledge, how about you, sir?
I just mostly been working on the React for the admin experience.
Yeah, you converted like 1 million of those components, right?
Yeah, 55 of them, yeah. My next thing is get back to the generator, because that's been put on hold because I'm in the middle of my busy season and was doing the React updates, but get back to the generator and put a new version out there, and then come back to the React admin experience project and make it so it's a single package with components that you reference instead of having to download 55 individual components.
Awesome. Another Herculean effort. Good stuff. So is that the only update? You got anything else you want to contribute?
All right, that's it. I just most of my day-to-day work I deal with hotcakes all the time. So yeah, I've been trying to track down some things, i.e. bugs, and it's something to do with a massive amount of volume and losing a couple pieces of info.
Hashtag blame Stroll.
He's been helping me out. So.
Yo, hotcakes. Good stuff. All right, Ash, sir, you are next in line. Do you have any updates that you would like to contribute? Have you done any DNN work here? You're muted, or you're not muted, but your mic is.
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, so mostly around the infrastructure update that I think we've all talked about. I think, Clint, the only other question or comment is that we're going to meet with some people in the community with UI expertise.
Yes, I have been working on that. You tasked me with that. You may or may not have known. I've got some interesting acceptances, so I'm going to be scheduling that meeting. I've just been waiting on. I've been giving the Europeans who holiday a lot time to respond, and I'm about to draw the line on a couple of them. But yes, we are going to schedule that. So.
Right. Do you want to maybe give a 30-second as to what the intent is for the?
Yes, I mean we had a meeting with Andy, and he wants to focus on areas that DNN can improve to gain ground in the CMS, like mindshare or marketplace or whatever, like more users, more adoption. And one of the areas was the UI UX. So he tasked us with figuring out what needs to be done in the UI and UX to make it better, right? And that's a general broad term, obviously, right? So we are recruiting any front-end people that are interested to an initial meeting where we discuss this topic. Now, what stems from that meeting, I don't know. It could be work. It could be a second meeting. It could be nothing. Ash is kind of like the man on top here, but I'm like trying to get the right people in the room so that we can start the conversation.
Yeah, so this is the meeting where Mitchell was there as well. I don't know, did Mitchell provide update to everybody about his, I don't think he did, right? To even the tech
so Mitchell's not here today. He's currently flying.
No, even in the tech calls?
He wasn't there last tech call either.
His flight schedule is kind of messing us up in the beginning.
Yeah, so I think we should ask for an update from him as to what was his take on with like that meeting was pending for a bit. So we did have that meeting, and one of the action item is definitely look into the UI UX to see how we can improve, especially the onboarding experience I think based on whoever I've been speaking, you know, of course, persona bar and all that, it may have issues and whatnot, but still a great experience from management. But the onboarding, once you install DNN, what next? It is very challenging to get to have a website, useful website, somewhat useful website ready without, you have to download a theme, and that's theme, you know, how to author the content is very difficult. So on one spectrum, I think the vision there is, on one spectrum, we have Squarespace, which is so easy to use. On the other spectrum, we have enterprise software, Adobe Experience Manager, Sitecoder. Those are a lot more complex. I mean, DNN is sort of in the middle sweet spot. The management is very easy, but the actual setting up the site is still very hard. So that is something that we're looking for feedback from people as to what we can do. First of all is what we can do, and then second would be who does it? That's the second question, but we need to kind of come to so this is where like Andy Mitchell and I and Clint were all talking as to where we should focus. So the idea here was to focus on the fundamentals of the platform that will help everybody, evoke, platform, and whatnot. But that's the brainstorming has to happen as to what part of that. So you guys are more than welcome to participate there.
So I mean, it sounds like we're talking about two different things. UI and UX, that's a very specific topic. Onboarding is completely different. And I agree, onboarding could be better. It could be infinitely better. But yeah, I think those really should be treated as two different initiatives. Like there is some overlap there, but not a lot. Like when you try to onboard somebody, when you're at a enterprise level, like software company, there's a team just for onboarding, and they're not the people that are in UX. They're not.
Yeah. So, you know, for example, I'll give you one example. You know, DNN has been acquired by this ESW with 70 companies, and each one of them, none of them have good CMS, and they're all trying to use CMS, and it's so hard. It's so hard to tell them what to do. I mean, even within our own Evoke, it's so hard to tell them, right? So why can't they have designers, they have people, marketing people, but it's just very difficult inside as well. So that's one of the, yeah, I agree, Will. I mean, there's a little bit of overlap, but I think that's what we need to brainstorm, what other problems are out there.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't know, this is just my opinion. If we were to focus on onboarding, both on the website and on a brand new install, those two things would be huge wins for us. Like if we did nothing else, those would be huge.
I 200%, and I don't know why we never paid attention all these years, either as a community or even as a corp.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is an opportunity to do something there.
I need to dig up my presentation that I gave to Naveen. You remember that, Stroll? It was all about onboarding.
Yeah, for the website side. Yeah, actually, you should, if you can you put that into the Slack channel that for the DNN site messaging in awareness group?
I'd have to find it, but yeah.
Yeah, I might even have it somewhere. But yeah, if we were to incorporate into the product, especially because you have a great plan there that I don't think we need to make too many adjustments to. But for the product itself, I installed DNN, now what? That's a perfect way to describe what the problem is.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So Ash, anything else?
That's it. That's about it.
Okay. All right. So we got 2 more minutes here. Just want to open it up for feedback on the meeting format and content here. Did you guys like this, open conversational style better than just updates from the leaders? Seems like everybody's kind of nodding a little bit.
Yeah, it was good.
I love it. Yeah, I think we should do this.
I agree too. In the future, if we do have everybody in here, it wouldn't be horrible to have the the awareness or the group leadership give updates, but we should really keep concise. Here's the top 3 things that are going on right now, and then move on. So that way, everybody can have a voice.
All right. So is there any info that we're not covering that you guys wish we would, or what is the best part? You really like to hear updates from Tag, or you like the updates from everybody, or you like the recap of everything that's going on, or you are already aware of what's going on. You don't need the recap. What should we add? What should we axe? What should we spend more time on? Any thoughts? I mean, you won't hurt my feelings.
I think that the updates, Clint, from the 4 groups, I think it's good to keep that one, because, for instance, I'm not part of the developers one, so it's good to hear about what's going on there. So again, I like that quick summary of each of the groups. My 2 cents.
Sweet. No, I appreciate
I think
it.
one suggestion that I may have is that maybe Danielle can help with the note taking, because that keeps things very organized in the other meeting, the tag meeting.
Well, I don't know if it's needed for the MVP meeting.
Probably
More
not. Yeah.
discussional than strictly
Yeah,
agenda.
And the other thing I was wondering too is, like, with this format, like, should we post the recording of the MVP meeting? I mean, I think
so.
It doesn't matter to me. I just don't know if things they're working on, if they want to share that. So, but we will discuss. But we are. So has anybody got anything else? I mean, we're about at time, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time here. I think if we can get David and Will to stop these side jokes, whatever we
You gotta have some fun. Come on.
This meeting is not allowed to be fun.
Yeah, no, you can have fun. Feel free.
Hey, the thing is, if it wasn't for those side jokes, nobody would be smiling during the meeting. So, if somebody's taking screenshots, we're just upping the chances of it being positive.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you enhancing the social media value. All right. Well, appreciate the time, and we will see you guys next month. Reminder that you as MVPs are leaders in the community. So go out and represent. All right.
Thanks,
Yes.
guys.
We'll see y'all.
See ya.
Yeah.